See? A standard push goes high, and if you open your racket angle, it goes long. Now watch this magic. Many players know the spin but still fail to return the serve. This is a very common problem. It's perfectly normal to miss a serve when you can't identify the spin. Let me show you what I mean. For instance, I'll serve you a heavy hook serve with backspin. Now, I'll serve a topspin first, and then follow it with a backspin. Why does the second backspin serve feel so much heavier? It's because you were influenced by the previous topspin serve. This causes you to hesitate on the next ball. If I serve you several backspins in a row, you can adapt. But if I serve a topspin then a backspin, you'll miss it immediately. Remember, you get 2 serves in a row. As a server, if you serve to the same spot, you must vary the spin. Because your opponent's muscle memory isn't refined, they are easily affected by the first serve, causing them to mishit the second one. So, here's the strategy. If your opponent has a strong attack, serve topspin first, then a heavy backspin. If they prefer to push, should you serve backspin first, and then topspin? For example, against a player who likes to loop, if you serve heavy spin right away, they might loop it. But if you serve a no-spin ball first to set their touch, then a heavy spin serve, they're more likely to make an error. Your serve receive is heavily influenced by the previous point. Against a player who pushes, don't start with backspin. If they push it back, your next topspin serve will be attacked. You must serve topspin first, then backspin. Now, from a receiver's perspective, we are influenced too much by the last point. If you hit the ball out or got attacked, you're still thinking about that previous shot's feel instead of focusing entirely on the next ball. You're thinking, I didn't lift that one enough, I need more brush. But then the server gives you a short ball. From now on, when you prepare to receive, forget the last point. Treat every serve like it's the first one. Judge it objectively and with full concentration. For instance, if a player struggles with a short forehand serve, they'll anticipate another one, but then the server goes long, catching them off guard. That's being stuck on the last point. This is why we often make 2 consecutive mistakes on serve, receive. Because good players always vary their 2 serves. So when you're reading the serve, don't let the last ball affect you. Every point is a separate event. If you miss the last one, it's over. Prepare for the next. Your muscle memory is also a factor. If you return a side spin topspin serve long, you'll instinctively try to close your racket angle on the next serve, even if it's side spin backspin. Reset your mind and your muscle memory for every serve. This is crucial. If your opponent returns your first side spin topspin serve long, serve a side spin backspin next. They will almost certainly put it in the net. Try this against your opponents in a match. That was point 3. Point 4. When we can't judge the spin, our reaction is too slow. How do we solve this? Against a backspin serve, do you typically push or loop? During your ready position for a push, the head of your racket must point towards your opponent. Many players hold it like this, which blocks their forehand. Others hold it like this, forcing them to adjust back for the backhand. Always point the racket head forward. Let's talk about looping first, as pushing just requires finding the right racket angle. For a side spin backspin serve, prepare your backswing at a medium height. As the ball comes, if you see its backspin, you have plenty of time to drop your racket lower. For side spin topspin, simply take your racket straight back. For side spin backspin, start your backswing, and once you confirm the spin, drop the racket lower. You have enough time. Topspin serves are fast, so you don't have time to react after the bounce. The problem is, most players wait for the ball to bounce before starting their backswing, which is always too late. So let's try this. As soon as the server contacts the ball and you know the placement, immediately start your backswing. If it's heavy backspin, you can then adjust downwards. This technique is very effective, don't you think it's a better approach? The hesitation comes from not knowing if it's topspin or backspin. Waiting until the bounce is too slow. But if you prepare early and then adjust, you'll be much quicker. Exactly. Prepare the stroke first, then adjust to the ball. Don't wait for the ball to drop before you swing. That's the first key. Second, for all side spins, your forearm is key to the backswing. For side spin topspin, your forearm goes back. For side spin backspin, your forearm goes down. Get the direction of your forearm correct. Don't think about high backswing or low backswing, as those aren't precise. Use your forearm to control the height of your backswing for better accuracy. Side spin topspin, forearm back. Side spin backspin, forearm down. See how much better that is? For topspin, as long as your racket is below the ball, you're fine. Your mistake earlier was getting too low and then trying to execute a full swing, which made the ball go long. Why do you hit backspin serves into the net? Because your racket isn't low enough. You think you've completed your backswing, but you've only pulled it backwards, not downwards. You are not brushing from under the ball, you are hitting from behind the ball. Can you lift heavy backspin by hitting it from behind? Your forearm needs to go down, not your whole body. The issue really is just the contact point. If you contact the ball from behind, the spin feels like 100%. If you contact it from underneath, it feels like 30%. It's that simple. My backspin loop may not always have the best quality, but why can I still execute it even without practice? Because I contact the ball at a low point. As the ball drops, my racket moves up. The two forces collide, creating a resultant force. If the ball is moving down and you're moving forward, the forces don't combine properly. When you do it correctly, you'll feel the incoming spin get neutralized. For a very heavy spin, I let my forearm drop down below the ball, and that's how I can lift it up. The second type is the half spin, half no spin serve. Pushing it results in a net ball, and trying to flick it often pops it up high or sends it long. This is the most common tricky serve. Let me first teach you the push. For any ball that tends to pop up, you must brush it sideways. For example, if he serves topspin, a straight push goes high. That's because I can't grip the ball, so it shoots upwards. Notice the trajectory, it just pops straight up. The more I chop down, the higher the ball goes. So, you need to handle it like Tai Chi. In Tai Chi, movements are circular and redirect force, not rigid and direct like calisthenics. For these half-spin serves, you must push sideways. If I can even push a topspin serve back low, what is there to fear? Go ahead, serve a half-spin ball. See? A standard push goes high, and if you open your racket angle, it goes long. Now watch this magic. Sometimes, your problem with serve-receive is simply a lack of the right technique. You can have a good forehand, backhand, push, and flick, but you still can't return serves because you're missing the specific method. Keep your racket vertical and push sideways with a soft touch. A normal push on this ball will go high, right? Now, try pushing it sideways. This is how the crafty veterans in the club play, isn't it? Very few of them just punch the ball forward, it's all about side brushing and tricky shots. Very few play with textbook form. When you face a tricky serve, you must use a tricky return. The second option is to attack with a loop. You can't just push every time, or your opponent will attack you. Normally, you close your racket for topspin and open it to brush backspin. For these tricky serves, do both, brush up first, then roll your wrist over to close the angle. Watch, I brush up, then press forward. Normally, after brushing, your swing goes straight up, causing the ball to go long. Instead, transform that upward motion into a forward and down motion. On a long serve, I brush up, then use my forearm to press the ball down. That solves the problem. Of course, you can't use this shot against a very heavy backspin serve that you're already netting repeatedly. After I've securely brushed the ball, I use my forearm to control the trajectory. Don't use too much power. Never force a shot you are not confident about. If I'm already uncertain about my read on the spin, I need to make my stroke more neutral. These tricks aren't for professional players, but I've been coaching amateurs for a long time and have to find solutions that work for you. So, in this half-spin situation, you can use this method. Honestly, these tricks aren't something I invented. I learned them by watching the skilled veteran players at the club develop them over time. Alright, let's see it. First, try to loop this ball with your normal technique. See how it goes long when you add power? Now try it, brush up, then press forward. So, there are really only 3 situations. First, side spin topspin, backswing goes backward. Second, side spin backspin, backswing goes downward. Third, half spin serves, you brush up and then press forward. That's all there is to it. The only other variable is left or right side spin. For serves that kick to the side, just aim your return towards the middle. Often, we see a motion that looks like topspin, but the server has added some backspin. For example, watch my motion. If you treat this as pure topspin, you'll hit it in the net. For a serve like that, you must immediately think, half spin and use the brush then press technique. You're still subjectively assuming it has no spin. The fact that you keep making errors tells you something is wrong. Why not change your approach? It's because you're conditioned to think that an upward motion always means topspin. The same applies to backspin. Some players use this motion for side spin backspin. If you return it like a topspin serve, look, it goes long. You hit it long, and it felt like backspin, didn't it? But you have to treat it like a topspin ball. Even though the motion was downward, it was actually a no-spin serve. You have to recognize objectively that serves don't follow the simple rule of downward motion is backspin. Upward motion is topspin. I've seen many skilled amateur players with serves that are incredibly deceptive. Some servers use contact point variation or hide the contact. The next time you see an upward motion, don't assume it's topspin. It could be a very heavy backspin serve. Look at this upward motion. Does it look like topspin? It's actually a very heavy backspin serve. After netting it twice, trust your feeling it is a spinny serve. They practiced for years just to develop that one deceptive motion. If their serves were easy to read, all those years of practice would be for nothing.